that. You're all set, Mike.
Do I have to hit continue on my screen or?
You do. You need to hit continue on your screen.
Okay, guys. This is the zoning board of review of the town of West Warwick for May 26th, 2021, starting at 7:05 p.m. The first thing we're going to do is the Pledge of Allegiance. So I'll start that. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty
and justice for all.
Pete, you're on the prayer, bud.
Okay, Lord, grant us the serenity to accept the things we cannot change, the courage to change the things we can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Amen.
Amen.
Peter Kelsey,
Here.
Alan Horick,
Here.
Justin Kuchu,
Here.
Richard Banks is absent, Jerry Lake,
Here.
and Tim Sullivan. Tim? Can't hear you. Okay. Tim's here. There is a quorum on record.
Hey, Paul, you forgot me.
Oh, Michael McPhillips.
Here,
Sorry.
president accounted for. Okay, does anybody have any questions or comments or additions or subtractions or anything like that for the minutes of the March 31st zoning board of review meeting?
Mr. Chairman, hearing none, I move that the board accept the minutes as presented.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay. Okay. Jerry Light, you're in on the first petition, okay? Okay, super. Okay, petition 2021-8. Applicant Kerry A. Sabetta and Michael J. Sabetta. Owner applicant the same. Premises 14 Kathleen Court, plat lot 38, which is plat 38, lot 20, zone R10. The applicant is seeking a dimensional variance and special use permit to add in-law under section 5.4 standard dimensional regulation tabled and 5.6.16 accessory family dwelling unit of the zoning ordinances of the town of West Warwick as amended. Is the Sabetta family here?
If you're here for this first petition, please raise your hand and we will allow you to talk. And should be 2 people coming in, Mike.
Okay,
Mike, once they're here, I'll put in the exhibits.
okay. Once we hear their voices.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're both on. They just have to unmute their microphones and
Okay.
they can participate.
Mr. Chairman, I have marked as exhibits, exhibit number 1, the application, exhibit number 2, the radius map, exhibit number 3, the abutters list, exhibit number 4, the building plan, exhibit number 5, the site plan, exhibit number 6, the zoning certificate, exhibit number 7, the tax collector's report, and exhibit number 8, the green cards.
Everything seems to be in order on that end.
Can you see us now and hear us?
We can hear you.
Yes.
Okay.
We see you too.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Karen.
Go ahead, put your case in. You're muted again.
Are you talking to us?
Yes,
we are.
Carrie.
Yep.
Oh, you had said Karen, so I didn't know what you,
Oh, sorry.
sorry.
Sorry about that.
Okay, and what was the question?
You've got to put your case in.
You gotta explain to us what you're looking to do.
Look, Mike, I've got to swear them in. Carrie,
Okay.
you going to be the only one testifying?
No, my husband's here too.
Could you each raise your right hand? Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
So what we're looking to do is have an in-law attached to the our house for my parents. We're looking to do a 24 by 24.
Okay. I'll start with the questioning, okay? Have you ever done anything like this before? Didn't think so.
We don't know how it works.
This is your first time, right?
Yes.
Okay. I'm kind of gonna hold up a document, but I know that we have, I'm gonna show it up, I'm gonna put it up to the screen. And if you guys can see it, is this kind of what, does that make sense? That has like what you kind of want to do? Where it says.
A little
garage.
higher.
Can you see that?
Just a little higher.
Yes.
Yes.
That's the handwritten.
That's the handwritten, yes. Okay, that's the handwritten. Do either of, Kerry or Mike, do you have anything? I know this is probably the first and only time that you'll do something like this, right?
Yes.
Okay. Generally, what our board is looking for is much more detailed than what you have
Well,
given us.
We were told we didn't need anything until after this meeting.
Yes.
Well, that would be putting the cart before the horse. Okay. Who was the person who told you that?
Was the building,
Building official, right?
yes.
Mhm.
He said we
Well,
didn't
Mike,
need any
there are-
official
there are-
plans.
There are
What-
3 drawings, Mike, there are 3 drawings besides the handwritten one. Do you have those?
I got this. That makes sense?
Yeah,
Uh,
one of them.
Kathleen Court?
Yeah, 14 Kathleen Court, yeah.
Okay, there's one large one and there's 2 smaller ones besides the handwritten one. Unfortunately, I think they all have different information on them. So this might be a multiple choice, I'm not sure.
Yeah. So it looks like you went from the hand drawing, right?
Yeah,
to-
well, see, we're just going from what the people in the office at town hall are telling us to give them. So
Okay,
we
I-
really have no idea what to do.
And the-
I
You're
I
kinda
totally
making us
get
look
that.
Stupid here.
Stop.
what's that
No,
one?
hold on. Also, the surveyor that did ours, I explained to him I wanted it to go out 24 by 24. But in the
Okay.
beginning, I was told it had to be 10 feet from the property line.
Right.
So that's why you have the different pictures,
yep.
and I
Okay,
drew the one.
okay.
So sorry.
Okay, no, that's why I was asked, this is your first time you're ever doing it.
Yeah.
We're sensitive to that fact that you generally don't do it every year, okay?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We're sensitive to that, so that type of, you don't do it every day, it's not what you do for a living. We understand that. Pete, you have any questions?
Basically, what we're looking for is on the right side of our property.
Yep.
You're looking at the front of the house.
If I may,
Yes.
I see that these, the property owners have left it up to other people to try and help them.
Yep.
Stephen Murgo is your surveyor. Would that be accurate?
Yes.
Right, okay.
So
We have two,
that's what you have.
we have three papers that he submitted to us. One enlarged that show no accessory building with 21.6 feet from your main house, your principal house, to the property line. It doesn't specifically show any setback on that. It does show 18.1 feet to I believe this is a no construction easement. They must have a water pipe or a sewer pipe or a gas pipe running through many of the properties there. Would that be accurate?
Yes, in the back. In the back.
So you cannot build on top of that easement. Is that accurate?
That's what we were told.
All right, so he got that right. That's where he started. On another one that's the same size or the same information but smaller, there's a view where he does show the setback, and he shows an area of accessory dwelling 16.7 by 26.6, which gives you a 444 square foot accessory dwelling.
Which is within the range.
Well,
That-
I'm sorry, go
ahead.
Let me just explain what these are so that it gives you a little bit better idea to make your comments and go forward. That particular drawing is within code.
Mhm.
You don't have to even come before us
right,
for
but,
that particular drawing, okay?
okay.
Now, it's a narrower
Peter,
length.
let me interrupt on that, Peter. They
Yeah.
have to come for special use and special use for accessory dwelling.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Special use for an in-law apartment.
Yeah.
Correct. But as far as variance is setback, that's not needed. Now, then there's another one that someone drew over it in pencil, 24 by 24, which equals 576 square feet for an accessory dwelling, which falls under the criteria that an in-law apartment has a maximum of 800 square feet.
It falls in the range.
Right, it falls in the range.
It's in the
But
range.
the 20-foot by 20-foot drawing or hand drawing, I think is right on your property line. I mean, it has no setback from lot number, I believe, 38? No, I'm
So,
sorry.
No.
Lot number 76, lot number 76. And besides that, you have a radius map. The radius map with the solid block here.
mhm.
The solid block and this radius map are incorrect. It's unacceptable because it's not your lot, and you have not contacted all the people within 200 feet of the proper lot, which is the lot below it, lot 14, or 14 Catherine Way, is it?
Kathleen,
Catherine Court, yep, Catherine
Yeah,
Court.
I'm not sure if that's your street, is that your street address?
Yeah, they're at 14 Kathleen Court. That's
14.
their,
We're sworn in, so
their
don't
house is 14 Kathleen Court.
So your radius map is incorrect, and the people that you have contacted is not in its entirety. It doesn't show.
I was sent a list from somebody from City Hall because they said it didn't look like it was sent correctly, so they sent me a list of all the people I had to send it to. I'm gonna go grab my paperwork. Do you mind holding for a minute?
Yeah, go
Absolutely, absolutely.
My husband had to leave because my son had a baseball game, so it's just gonna be a minute.
Okay, no problem.
I'm not sure, guys, Al, if you look at this radius map
I know.
outside,
I'm in total, I did not realize it until you just pointed it out, Peter. However, based on that radius map, the
Yeah.
wrong people have been notified,
yes, some of the wrong people, but some of the correct people, which
have not been notified.
have not been notified. And I can't tell because there's on this radius map, it doesn't give the street locations
No,
or
Doesn't give the
lot
addresses.
locations on the other maps. So
I
there's no
think,
way-
unfortunately, from a legal perspective, what has been submitted
Is incorrect.
is that, yeah, it's incorrect.
Not acceptable, right?
And it would have to be continued because by state statute, unless, and I'm sure whoever that lot that's just off the corner, the top corner of the page, they would fall within it.
Yeah,
If you move that dotted line, I'm gonna say, west.
Could I just ask a dumb question, but what is the standard, I guess, for determining the radius? Is it from the dead center of the
No,
property?
the
Oh, it's on the
boundary
corners.
lines of the exterior boundary lines of the parcel.
So it should stretch out, I believe it's 200 feet in all directions, right?
Yes, that circle, that dotted circle should be moved towards the top of the page. Because it's lot 14 that it
Right.
should be around, and it's not, it's a lot 12.
12, okay.
Right. Yeah. But
Actually, it would go right off the page.
Yeah,
yeah. But, well, I guess we don't have a way to determine either. We do have the list of abutters that were notified, but I guess we don't have
Front door.
any way to determine if they're, which circle they fall within.
and I have to admit, I did not pick that up until Peter mentioned it to me. However, from a legal perspective in the statutory law, the notice is faulty. With faulty notice, the matter cannot be heard.
Right.
That being the case, my suggestion would be to continue to date certain and
What plot is it showing that's mine? I have plot 38, lot 70 is what's on City Hall is what he said, right?
That's what you
Your-
have, right? That's what was
Your
the-
radius map shows that you took 200 feet circling lot 12. I guess it's address.
Which is
And
flat
your
38,
address, your
71.
address is 14, correct?
It's the lot to your immediate left. If you're looking at the front of your house, the lot to your left.
So it's plot 20. Right?
Yeah.
I don't have that information.
No, on your map, Kerry, it would be the one that is working off of, it would be the 12038-071.
Yeah.
But
Do you
what
have
was-
this one?
Do you have that, Kerry? Yeah, I got that. I got that out. It's exactly what I'm looking
Right.
at.
Yeah,
But
this is the one.
But Kerry, the piece of paper that we're looking at,
Well, Jerry actually highlighted it.
okay,
Yeah, he did a pretty
can-
good
if
job.
you can
Yeah,
s-
like that.
let me get up. Can you see that, Kerry?
Yeah, so he did the one in the middle. Is that what you're
Yes,
saying, my
there's supposed to
surveyor?
be one to the left, yeah. It's supposed to be to the one to the, would be my left where I'm at. You're right, if you're looking at it.
So
Yeah,
he didn't submit the correct one,
That's correct.
yeah, that's correct.
but he
It is
emailed
correct.
me the correct one. I don't,
Thanks, Jerry.
Karen, let me try and explain to you. What you submitted to the board shows the people within 200 feet of, I'm gonna assume that's the address, 12. Your address or whatever it is 14.
yes, but what I explained earlier, the woman I spoke to up in the guy's office gave me this list. She
But that's-
provided it to me, not my
that's-
surveyor.
That's correct, but she provided you with a list for what you gave to her of
No, she
200.
looked it up on the phone with me. She knew what plot I was. What name are you showing that I'm missing? Like, I want to make sure we're on the correct list here.
The problem is that from the list, we don't know.
Who the
It's no
property
way
was.
for- It's no way for the zoning board to be able to determine whether or not the people within 200 feet of lot number 12, or whether whoever you spoke to corrected it and gave you 200 feet from lot 14. So the board is in a position where it can't tell whether or not the proper people were notified. Under normal circumstances, that would require an immediate dismissal and starting all over again, because you didn't notify, or the board's cannot be assured that all the people were notified. And by state statute, that ends the proceeding. What I am suggesting to the board is, with their discretion, and should simply to try and be reasonable, is instead of just dismissing this matter tonight and making you start all over again, is they continue the matter to the next zoning hearing and let you make whatever corrections you should make. And I would go back to Mr. Murgo and saying, Mr. Murgo, things are not correct. We want you to straighten this out.
Yeah, I'm just trying to find the email from the woman I spoke to in the office there, because we had this same conversation and I thought he sent in the updated one. And
Well,
does,
but
how come, can I just ask a question? Because this is new to us. I didn't know
We
what needed to be
understand. No.
in
We
here.
totally get
Does
that.
nobody check it or follow up to let us know before the meeting, like what?
No,
No.
that'd be, it's because
Well,
it's up,
the building
up to the
official
applicant.
could put his eye on it, because the building official does sign off on it. And I'm
No,
not sure
no,
why
no,
he doesn't see
no.
more than he
Peter,
does.
the building official signs off that the documents have been filed. The building official has no authority to say this is incorrect. The building official can only
All right.
accept
I
what is submitted.
understand that, Al. I understand that, but just give me a second. Building official signed off on his checklist on the building plans were applicable. I think, I don't know what his initials say on there. I really can't read it. But the applicant hasn't sent a floor plan of her existing first level and hasn't sent the floor plan of her the 24 by 24 or the 16 by 26 of where the two buildings are going to come together and where the access and egress is going to be joining one another. So again, without that, we'd be having to take the applicant's word rather than see it by either by an architect or by a planner.
Peter,
Yeah.
and I will take responsibility for that. The building official's sole function in this matter is to take a look. If the document has been submitted, he checks it off. It is, he cannot, it is not within his authority to say this should be done or that should be
Right,
done.
right. He can't
Because
tell
the
the
minute-
applicant what to do.
Because the minute he does that, then they say, well,
It's
that's
too
what you
bad.
told me to do. So unfortunately, you've got a situation here where something erroneous was filed. As I said, under normal, and Gary, the reason I'm going this way is I think everybody accepts the fact that, this is your first time and there's a lot of technicalities to it. And so rather than be hot and fast and saying, start all over again, I am suggesting to the board that instead of starting all over again and having to file all of these papers all over again, that you get your building plan, and I'll leave that to Peter, and your radius map and a butters list corrected. And those are from my perspective, it's the radius map and the abutters list that has to be corrected. Now, I'm sure Peter has some comments about the site, the building plan. That's not within my domain.
Yeah, Kerry, I know Peter might have some words also, but we don't like to make any recommendations, but it's, if you can come back with a more complete plan, that would be great, because you do have to have an egress and an ingress, a way to get in and a way to get out. So that's kind of, I mean, like I said, we totally understand. It's your first time. Probably never going to do it again. Hopefully you never have to do it again,
No,
right?
but
Okay.
it's kind of frustrating when
Yeah,
you
I totally
talk
get
to
that. I
five
totally
different
get that.
people
It's
and-
frustrating. I totally
But
get that. It's
My
frustrating.
question is that you guys are City Hall and you guys do all this. I'm not told correct information, and the butters list, I went over this with this woman and she was very nice and she sent me the correct one because she had the wrong listing, something, but I will get that.
Okay.
I appreciate it, but I think going forward, when stuff like this they need to tell people what needs to be up in front, because I was told just to make a quick drawing so it can be before the board to show this is what we want before we do the building plans.
That is, this board, especially this board, I've been on the board a little while, and especially this board does like to have as much complete information as we can have so that we can make a decision that is well informed. So what our solicitor said, I would agree with that. We don't want you to have to start over again. That's pretty ridiculous. But
Yes.
yeah, it is. I totally agree with you. He's totally right. So what, under his advisement, we should, I think the board, as a board, should vote to continue this matter to either a period, a date certain, which is either next month or the month after that, but we do need a certain date. That,
What's the next meeting, Paula?
The next one would be June 30th, which is the last Wednesday in June.
the last day of June.
But I would need this by June.
No, Paula,
First.
you don't, you can just run an ad to continue. I'll talk to you about it.
Does
But I
that give
would need the
enough time?
correct stuff from her.
Would that be
So
enough
what
time
do
for you,
so you're
Karen?
needing a building plan? A better building plan is what you're needing,
A better
correct?
building
And-
plan.
Yes.
Carrie,
and
have you discussed a layout for the new in-law apartment as in conjunction with the first level of your first house? Do you have that kind of in thought or on paper or
Yeah.
somewhere?
Have you
Well, yeah,
spoken
it's
to an
gonna-
arch, have you
it's
have you
gonna
hired
be
an
one-
architect?
My parents have not yet. No, they were waiting kind of
Okay,
to hear.
you need to do that before you come back.
Yeah, that'd be strongly advised to get an architect to see what you're, to see within the
But I
boundaries.
think they didn't want anything drawn up unless I got approved for the 24 by 24.
Well,
Because they're
that's
gonna
ki-
pay somebody to pull
Well,
out this plan. That's the
well,
only
that's-
thing.
just to give you a little bit more information. The
Mhm.
24 by 24, you're going to need a variance of side setback. Because 24 from your existing house probably is in 1 foot of your border. I haven't,
3 feet. That's why I did the dimension thing I was told to check off.
right,
Because
well,
it's 26 or 27 from my neighbors.
it's not from the neighbor, it's from your property
I mean,
line.
from the property line, sorry.
Yeah, okay. That being said, the other dimension, the 16 by 26, make sure I'm saying that right, 16.7 by 26.6.
Yeah,
That
he did
falls
that
in
because
line-
I was told originally that it had to be 10 feet from the property line. And then when I called, I was told you don't have to do 10 feet. You can do the dimension. And that's why I checked that off to have it.
Carrie, may I give you some advice that you're probably not gonna like? You are in an area where you are seeking 3 of the 4 possible remedies that
Yep.
a zoning board can issue. Those are very technical issues that, and I will tell you that many of the lawyers who've come before us were not qualified to do it because it's a very specialized field. I think you should get some advice from a professional who knows the zoning code. And I'll drop it there.
I was talking to, I'm a little confused. I mean, zoning told me draw a picture and it didn't say be prepared and bring stuff. I called the office. I was told, here's the correct butters list because they had it incorrect and it was being corrected. Now everything's not correct and it's just frustrating. I'm a little confused because I was told 10 feet from property line. Then I was told you don't have to do 10 feet. If you want it out more, just check off the dimension thing on the application that I submitted. And then go
Right.
before the zoning. That's all I was told.
But let me just say it again for you though. With the 24 by 24, you're asking
Yeah.
us for the most part to forget about any setback whatsoever. So you're going from, for your neighbors, you're going from a 10-foot setback to 0. Now, I know that your neighbor, which is 16 Kathleen Court or whatever it is, has been notified. I specifically looked for that address in your 20-foot, 200-foot radius map.
Mhm.
So that's what she's expecting. She's expecting, or someone's expecting by looking at the information, a 10-foot setback. If you choose to ask for a 4-foot setback and a variance of 6 foot, then that's a possibility. That's what I'm saying. But to come to a zoning board and ask for no setback whatsoever, It'd be very difficult for a zoning board, I think, to agree with that. But you can do what you feel is necessary, but you
I
should.
don't know what the
probably get some-
setback is. I'm not understanding that.
A setback is the distance from your property line to the new corner of your building, which would be the corner of the accessory in-law apartment.
Mhm.
That would be the difference.
Carrie,
One of your
that's what-
drawings is a 10-foot, but not 20-foot width, 16.6 width. So that's an 8-foot difference.
Because my surveyor, I was told I can only go 10 feet, so I didn't have him do 24 by 24. And then I was
Right.
told to
Yeah.
check off, so that's
Ca-
why.
Carrie, I
I'm
think
just
you should,
frustrated.
I think you should get some professional help with somebody that knows zoning.
All right. All right, I have the information here. I giving incorrect information. So I'm going to, are we gonna set up another meeting then at some point?
Yes, absolutely.
Do you want to go to July and give yourself plenty of time?
Good idea.
I'd
Well,
recommend
if I
that.
needed something by June 1st, which is next week, yeah.
All right. What's,
You're probably
Paul,
better off in July.
Paul, what's the
Probably better off
July
in July.
date?
Gives you more time.
Do we have the meeting in July?
No, we don't
Yes.
It's
usually.
up to
You
you
have a meeting in
guys.
July this year? Do we?
Yes.
We do? Okay.
So in July, it would be July 28th, the last Wednesday of the month.
Well, if it was June, when would you need the information for June?
It would have to be June 1st, but I could probably stretch it to June 7th.
Yeah, anyway. All right, we'll just do July. I'll just put it in for July right now.
That's safer for you.
July what, Paul?
It would be July 28th.
Mike, motion to continue to 7 PM,
And-
July 28th by
Okay.
Zoom or at the town hall.
Okay. Make a motion that we continue this petition to July 28th of 2021.
By Zoom or
By
at the
Zoom or
town
in
hall.
person at the town hall.
Second.
Okay. Is that a roll call?
Who's
Yes.
going to second it?
Me.
Justin did.
Yes.
Peter Kelsey,
Yes.
Ellen Horick,
Yeah, I just, are we gonna have any discussion on this or just to help clarify or set the expectations of what is specifically required when we go there? I mean, we
Alan-
need,
Alan, I think that you
You got-
should not get
okay,
into it.
all right. I vote yes. Continue.
Justin Kuchu,
Yes.
Jerry Lee,
Yes.
and Michael McPhillips.
Yes. That is
Motion passes
continuing
to
into-
Good luck. Good luck.
For July. Good luck,
Good
Carrie.
luck.
Thank you.
You can make it work. You can make it work.
Try. All right,
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Carrie. All right. Moving right along, the second petition, like, let's see. Tim, you're in, right? Tim?
Can you hear me this time?
You're in. You're up
Can
to,
you hear
you're
me?
up to, you're up to, oh, we can hear you.
Yes.
You're up to the plate, brother. You're here.
All right.
Okay.
I
Petition,
switched laptops.
hey, so there you go. Oh, multiple laptops. That's good. All right. Petition number 2021-10. The applicant is Arpin Associates LLC. Owner applicant same. Premises 99 James P. Murphy Highway. Plat 12-2, lot 331, zone business park. The applicant is seeking a dimensional variance for office and warehouse under Appendix A, Section 5, subsection 5.4, and Appendix A, Section 5, subsection 5.9.10.7 of the zoning ordinance of the town of West Warwick as amended. And I'm sure we have the Arpin people here.
If you're here on behalf of Arpin Group, please put your hand up. 4 different people that we're allowing in, guys.
Okay. Okay, who wants to go first?
There you go. Hi, can you hear me okay? It's Peter Harkness.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, Mike, let me do the exhibits.
Yep.
I have marked for this matter as exhibits. Application, exhibit 1, the application. Exhibit 2 is exhibit A, the attachment to the application. Exhibit 3 is the radius map. 4 is the butters list. 5 is the site plan. 6 is the zoning certificate. 7 is the tax collector report. 8 is the green cards. Peter, would you raise your right hand?
Yes,
Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I sure do. Hey, I was just, so we have our attorney who's, I can see him on the screen. I can't see his face, Marco
Hi, can you hear me?
Uriarty, who,
Hi, can you hear me?
Yep, we can.
yep,
Right.
here we go.
Can you see me?
I can.
Your camera's covered. Have you got a slide for your camera?
How's that?
There you go.
Yeah, one of the kids was playing with it, so thank you very much. My name's Marco Uriarty. I'm the attorney representing the applicant, Arpin Associates. With me virtually this evening, I've got Peter Arpin, Executive Vice President of Arpin Group, President of Arpin International Group, and Principal Shareholder of Arpin Group. Additionally, here virtually with us is Richard Bizdira, Licensed Professional Land Surveyor, and George Pascalis with NG Commercial Real Estate Consulting and Brokerage.
Could you spell George's last name, please?
Yes, Paskalis. And the contact information for all of the attendees is on the Exhibit A to our application for your reference, sir.
Could I just ask a question?
Yes.
Is it the gentleman that I see on the bottom right that's speaking? No,
I'm speaking, Marco Uriarty.
I don't, you're not on the screen, are you? That I don't see you.
He's there, Peter.
Up there. He's right next to Peter. He's right next to Peter Arpin.
Switch over to gallery review.
Okay, where is that?
Sometimes up in the right top corner. Where it
Right
says
corner.
view. Every Zoom device seems to be different, but
Yeah.
All right, go ahead. I can't find it, but okay.
Just by way of further introduction and background, the applicant this evening, Arpin Associates LLC, is a wholly owned subsidiary of Arpin Group, which is a 41-year corporate resident of 99 James B. Murphy Highway in the Business Park in West Warwick. Arpin Group is also the parent company of Arpin Moving, formerly known as Arpin Van Lines, which is a 121-year-old interstate household goods motor carrier. Arpin International Group, Inc., an industry-leading.
Council, there's a steno in the room. Council, you got to slow down. There's a steno in the room here. You need to slow down a little bit.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. And as I was saying, Arpin Van Lines is a 121-year-old interstate household goods motor carrier, and Arpin International Group, an industry-leading household goods freight forwarder, among other subsidiaries and affiliates. The applicant is the original owner developer of the subject property. This application is seeking dimensional variances from the setback and parking requirements of the zoning ordinance of the town of West Warwick. Applicant has filed an application for a major subdivision, proposing to subdivide its single 10.68 acre parcel with 2 lots, a building on each lot, creating those 2 separate lots. It is classified as a major subdivision due to the required dimensional variances. It is otherwise essentially a so-called existing conditions subdivision. There are no proposed improvements, alterations of drainage, or other proposed changes to the existing conditions of the property. other than subdividing the lot and the stipulations set forth in the decision of the planning board of the town of West Warwick dated April 7, 2021, approving applicant's master plan. Copy of that decision was filed with our application. Sale of the resulting warehouse building property, which is denoted as parcel B on the master plan, to Energy Property Owners LLC is pending, subject to final approval of the plan. Applicant will retain ownership of the office building denoted as parcel A on the master plan. There are no proposed changes in use of either of the resulting properties. The relief applicant seeks is reasonable and equitable and is consistent with applicable law. The pending sale of the warehouse property will be beneficial to all concerned. We would submit to you that that transaction plays to the core strengths of the business models of the respective parties. It will help preserve, continue to support, and better align the interests of the existing commercial tenants at the property, as well as the jobs maintained there, the support of local vendors, and ultimately the tax base of the town of West Warwick, while at the same time adding a new reputable corporate owner to the business park community. Specifically, the requested dimensional variances concern setbacks for parcel A. The rear setback requirement per regulation is 50 feet. We are proposing 20 feet, which will be the new boundary line between the existing buildings. Parcel B, the front setback requirement is also 50 feet required. We're proposing 5 feet, which would be fronting on Energy Way at an address of 4 Energy Way. Again, this represents no change to existing conditions at the property. Concerning the parking relief requested, parcel A, which is an office use, there are 117 parking spaces required by ordinance. The proposed is 109 spaces. For parcel B, which is predominantly warehouse, the combined total required spaces per ordinance, 173 spaces. The proposed number of spaces is 97. The proposed existing off-street parking spaces are more than sufficient for the types of use and operation of the resulting properties, which will again not change due to the relief sought this evening. Additionally, there is ample on-street parking along Energy Way available to the resulting properties. Warehouse tenant operations, for your information, consist of
We just lose audio?
All right, did we lose the guy?
I think his internet dropped.
Yeah, we lost him completely.
Lost him completely. Okay.
Give him a minute and see if he can rejoin. Yeah, here he is. Hold on one second. No. All right. He should be back.
I'm back. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
There you go.
Here you know.
I'm not sure why that dropped, but nevertheless, as I was saying, the warehouse tenant operations, for your information, consist generally of seasonal and generally low employee density use, local household goods moving companies and other seasonal businesses. The office building operations consist of generally low density and seasonal employee use as well, with the majority of employees working remotely due to the current COVID conditions and specifically as it relates to our group's changed business model. The application and the relief sought comply with all applicable standards of the zoning ordinance and the Rhode Island Zoning Enabling Act, as set forth in detail, again, in Exhibit A of our application. The relief sought is the least necessary and will not alter the general character of the surrounding area or impair the interest or purpose of the zoning ordinance or the comprehensive community plan. In fact, in granting its approval, the planning board found that the plan to be generally consistent with section 17.5 general purposes of the town's subdivision and land development regulations. And they found that the applicant's master plan, quote, is generally consistent with the comprehensive community plan, end quote. I would refer you to the planning board's decision at page 2. Lastly, the hardship that would be suffered by the applicant if the requested dimensional variances are not granted will amount to more than a mere inconvenience and would deny the aforementioned benefits of better aligning and preserving the interests of property owners, the commercial tenants, with jobs supported there, local vendors, and the town's tax base. In sum, granting this application and approving the applicant's major subdivision plan makes sense as a practical matter. It represents sound and effective planning, zoning, and economic, in this case, preservation. This result will do substantial justice to my client, the applicant, and it also represents a win for all parties concerned. Approval of the requested variances, the deviations, would serve as an example, in our view, of private industry and local government finding common sense, practical solutions benefiting the community under especially challenging circumstances. Therefore, the applicant respectfully requests that the zoning board grant the requested dimensional parking and setback variances and approve applicant's major subdivision master plan, inclusive of the stipulations contained in the planning board's decision dated April 7, 2021. Thank you.
About to digest, sir. All right, Mr. Arpin, can you put that into English? Can you summarize that in English, please? Not in like 4 years of law school at Suffolk.
I did not.
Okay, well, do your best then. What are you really looking to do?
So no, as Marco encapsulated there, you know, there's and certainly as
Excuse me, Al, do we have to swear in?
Peter has been sworn in.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I have been.
Okay, sorry, I missed that.
Yeah. And as George, our real estate agent, will attest, the campus, particularly in this environment, doesn't work for us, doesn't work for a lot of people. And so, you know, we're in that situation where in order to best utilize the campus, both for ourselves and our current operations, which have been streamlined, as Marco said, and working remotely, and in the preservation of the operations that are in the warehouse, we, as it is, you know, ultimately long-term trying to, as an example, trying to find additional tenants or buyers, the market has changed a lot. And so the value of that property as it exists today is diminished if we're not able to segment out, bring in this buyer to manage the warehouse operations and allow us to focus in particular on the office, which is a really difficult market right now. So, you know, we've been there a long time. We've expanded. We were very invested in the moving and storage business. That business has collapsed a little bit as well, particularly domestically. So we started to exit that and orientate our operations into, in particular, into the international, which doesn't require the space and the facilities that are there now. So we kept shrinking, getting back out of the warehouse operation. And with COVID and being able to finally establish long-term remote operations for all of our employees, that facility at $35,000 for the office and the warehouse we can't manage. We can't manage the expense. We can't fill it. We can't certainly utilize that warehouse fully. And so that's really why we need the relief right now. The market has dramatically changed. And we're trying to focus on what we do and do it well. And we thought, coming here and asking for these variances, which I guess in our view are relatively small, we still feel there's more than adequate parking, certainly for what, in fact, if you think about a warehouse operation, there's hardly anybody in there, right? It's mostly forklifts and cold storage and things like that. We have dramatically more parking than we need under current operations. And I think that would certainly continue in today's, remote, digital, virtual world. And so hopefully that's the business decision, and that's what's prompting us. And that what has driven our request tonight.
Is most of your office personnel working from home, and they will be working from home?
Yeah.
Okay. But the warehouse isn't changing. That the buildings themselves, the campus, as you like to put it in air quotes, is not physically changing. You're not building anything. You're not tearing anything down.
We are not. No, the only thing we're doing is obviously doing the things that were requested and I believe required by planning when they made the recommendation and set us up to come in front of zoning tonight.
Mr.
But
Chairman.
no, there's absolutely no physical changes.
Mr. Chairman, I think it can best be summarized by the drawing a line through their property and nothing else.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'll hold for further questions unless anybody, I'm sure that at least one member of our board probably has at least one question, so. Justin, Alan, Tim,
I think it's as simple as they're subdividing the property, if I'm correct.
Yes, that's right.
I got no questions on my end.
well, Peter, I actually have one question, and this is more of a housekeeping thing than anything to do with the board. The building on Energy Way says 2 Energy Way, right? There's an actual little sign that says 2 Energy Way right on the door, right? Yeah, it does. I'm telling you it does, because I saw it today.
I have to think about
You have to think about that, right? But it does. Definitely it does. Is there any way you can put like the number 99 somewhere? So somebody knew what 99 James P. Murphy Highway was? Because as I was there today, I couldn't find 99. I'm just driving around. I know what drive it is. I know you're across the street. So
Yeah,
it's just a question. That's all.
absolutely. Big sign. We have a big sign in front. We just have to add a 99 to it.
Okay, there you go. Okay. I might help the truckers too. And the people coming in from out of town. Pete, you have any questions?
I do.
I figured.
Peter Up and Peter Kelsey, your former councilman. How you doing?
Good, Peter. How are you?
Not too bad. I'm on zoning now. Staying out of trouble.
You couldn't get rid of them.
And I'm still your neighbor on East Greenwich Avenue. So, anyway. But in the meantime, I'm looking at your drawing, and I understand pretty much everything that you're looking to do. I just want to re-verify. Parcel B is going to have the usage of the existing parking lot that is facing J.P. Murphy Highway. Is that correct?
So I'm sorry, I don't have the plans. Marco,
Yes.
that's
correct.
Yes.
Okay. That's parking for cars, cars and pickup trucks and so forth? Or is that parking for trailers?
The way it breaks down now, so there's parking surrounding the office space, right? So yep, and so facing James P. Murphy Highway. And then the truck parking, you would access through the road that divides the property. And the truck parking is in and around the warehouse and encompasses the first lot on the right in a fenced area that then abuts the wetlands area. But any of that parking that you see immediately surrounding and facing James P. Murphy Highway, that is for cars.
Right, okay. Your new, the purchaser of, your proposed purchaser, I should say, they're going to be parking in primarily well, pretty much they have a much larger. They're buying 3/4 of your existing piece of land, correct?
That's roughly correct.
Yeah.
Yes. We're looking at the plan.
Yeah,
Yeah,
about 3/4.
yeah.
Okay, that being said, the only thing that comes across, something that has always been somewhat of a, I'm going to use the term, a soft issue, is the trailers that were parked along Crewdale Drive. And I'm saying this with the utmost respect. West Warwick is lucky to have had Paul Oppen for many years, and hopefully that this will be advantageous for both company owners and the town of West Warwick. Is part of their business plan to also park trailers on the road? And maybe I shouldn't even be asking that question.
So that's a little hard to answer. I think what you're going to find, because we've sold our domestic operations, we're actually in the process of selling off. You'll see a lot of that equipment has started to come off the lots, and there's a lot more room. I think the problem has been more as we were in the van line business and we had a lot of spare trailers and drivers overnight. Our expectation is that lot, as an example, when you drive down the road that divides us to the right, that's just in the process of getting cleared out, that should be relatively empty. So I think you'll find, and the two trailers, I believe it's two right now that are parked on the backside, which would be Energy Way going into Crewdale, those are being sold. Those came in as we sold off van line operations. So it would be my expectation that it's been our issue and you will see a lot less equipment, because the tenants that are there, there's a moving and storage company, but he houses his equipment in the back, in the front of the warehouse, what I would consider the front. And then there's an ATV tenant, he's hardly ever there. And then there's Ryan's Design, and they have just those small trucks. So I would take the blame for the excess equipment.
Well, I'm not placing blame, Peter. How many years you been there for? 40 years?
Yeah, 41 years. Yes, sir.
I've been on East Greenwich Avenue longer.
Have you?
Yeah.
You were
built there in, actually, I think it's 41. Built there in 76.
And you paid your taxes.
42 years. Yeah, I do. Keep the economy going.
Well, you're lucky we didn't try to park trailers over there.
No. I got it. You notice that I said it's a very soft issue, and I mean that sincerely. It was brought up when I was a councilman, and it never came to anything that we asked your company to take action. At least not to my knowledge, anyway.
No, the town has been fantastic. In fact, kudos even to Mark. It's been unbelievably helpful getting us through this process. He told us, he's always told us that as long as we're keeping things within the operation, right, and certainly not creating a hazard, the town's been unbelievably cooperative, because particularly in the process of winding down the domestic operations, we did end up with a lot of equipment here.
Yeah,
headquarters. It got pretty congested. So thank you for that because you have been very tolerant.
I'll wish you luck in the future.
Well, thank you. You too.
It's a two-way street, Peter.
Yeah,
Yep.
thank you.
Any other questions, guys?
Okay.
Mike, just one quick question. Looking at the plan, there's a two-story connector between the two buildings. Is that, even though it's going to be separated, is that going to remain?
I can answer that question. That is one of the stipulations of the planning board's decision that the two-way connector be removed.
Okay. I know, I didn't see that piece in the package, but okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Anybody else? I don't hear anything. Okay. Joe, are there any hands up for remonstrance? Any other questions or anything like that for people who are out in the audience?
Nothing at the moment.
Okay. Okay. Guess we can close the public hearing. I want to make a motion.
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
A second.
Second.
Okay. I think this is, I'll take this one, Alan. Petition 2021-10, applicant owner Oppen Associates LLC, 99 James P. Murphy Highway. Applicant is seeking a dimensional variance from front and side setbacks and parking requirements caused by a division of the property into two separate parcels.
Mr. Chairman, I have to take this down. Slow down, please.
Oh, sorry. Sorry,
Thank
Ron.
you. Thank you.
You want me to start at the beginning?
No, you can pick up from there. I can get it off the agenda.
Okay. I think that they've been a wonderful corporate citizen for many years. I think we should definitely vote yes on this. I plan on voting yes. Any other discussion from anybody?
I have to second what you said.
Okay. And the dimensional variance, the hardship which relief is sought is due to the unique characteristics of the subject land, or as Mr. Arpin says, the campus or structure, and not the general characteristics of the surrounding area, and is not due to physical or economic disability of the applicant. Is not the result of any prior action of the applicant, is not primarily to realize financial gain, will not alter the general characteristics of the surrounding area or impair the intent or purpose of the zoning ordinance or the comprehensive plan. Definitely is the least relief necessary, and if not granted, the hardship will result in more than a mere inconvenience. So I agree with all of those five bullet points, and I'll be voting yes. If anybody else has any comments?
The motion to approve is subject to planning board stipulations.
Okay. What Al just said. And put that down, Paula.
Somebody's gonna make the motion in second, Mike.
Okay.
Mike, was that the motion? Because if that's the motion, I'll second it. but-
Yeah, that's the motion.
No, I can't make the motion. Somebody's gonna make the motion.
Okay.
One of you is gonna make the motion, not me.
No, Mike just made the motion, I thought. Wasn't that the motion?
Yeah, I
He
thought
was
so.
giving his narrative.
Yes.
Shortly after that, one of us could have said, "So moved." I said, "So moved."
Okay.
I'll second Pete.
Thanks, Pete.
And I'll take care of the decision.
Thanks. Go ahead, Paula.
Peter Kelsey,
Yes.
Alan Warwick,
Yes.
Justin Kutu,
Yes.
Tim Sullivan,
Yes.
and Michael McPhillips.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Motion passes. Okay.
Thank you.
Tim, you're back in, Jerry, you're back in on this one, okay?
Good.
Okay. Petition 2021-1-11 or -11. Applicant Brushneck Cove Investments LLC. Owner applicant the same. Premises is 7 Hebert Street. Plat 5, Lot 616, Zone R8. The applicant is seeking a special use variance to construct a two-family dwelling under Section 5, Use Regulation A. residential use in section 5.4 standard dimensional regulations table of the zoning ordinances of the town of West Warwick as amended. Okay, is somebody here from Bushneck Cove?
I've got a David Johnston and Emily McLean that I'm letting in.
Okay.
Should be all set, Mike.
Okay.
Mike, I have marked as exhibits. Number 1, the application. Number 2, the radius map. Number 3, the abutters list. Number 4, the site plan. Number 5, the building plan. Number 6, the zoning certificate. Number 7, the municipal lien certificate. And number 8, the green cards.
Okay, that sounds like everything's in order. Can only hear half of you, Al, but it sounds like it's in order.
They are, everything is filed.
Okay.
Evening, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Chairman, can I begin or you?
Either way, I think our solicitor has to swear you in. So you
No,
probably want
that's the attorney.
That's your attorney. Oh, forget it. We definitely have to swear you in then. Only kidding, Mr. Johnston.
Thank you.
Fire away.
My dress code has changed at Zoom. I apologize.
That's okay.
My name is David Johnson. I am the attorney for Brushneck Cove. I'm also a member of Brushneck Cove, so I have an ownership interest in Brushneck as well as this project. But I'm here this evening as an attorney representing them. Obviously.
David, to be on the safe side, since you are an applicant, why don't I swear you in just to cover all the bases?
Very well, thank you.
Raise your right hand. Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do. So with me this evening, I have a Douglas McLean. He's showing up as Emily McLean. I believe that's his wife's name. He'll have to change that. He's my land use expert. I'll ask him to testify shortly. Mr. Boyer is my surveyor. Unfortunately, he is unable to make it this evening. However, I believe his survey stands for itself, but hopefully Douglas and myself can answer any.
Excuse me 1 minute. For the purposes of the board, I spoke to Mr. Boyer today. He called me to tell me he would not be able to appear. He had a knee replacement last Friday, and so he's not able to be here tonight.
You don't want to get on the Zoom tonight?
No.
Okay.
That I'd like to see.
I think he's here, but so in any event, before I get to Mr. McLean, I'll just provide a brief overview of the project, what we're looking to do. We're seeking, obviously, a special use permit to construct a 2-family dwelling at 7 Hebert Street. It's a vacant lot in an R8 zone. It's 12,428 square feet. It is 88 feet wide by 140 feet deep. The proposed use of 2 families allowed under section 5.3. That's the use table by special use permit. And the lot itself exceeds all the dimensional requirements for that 2-family as prescribed section 5.4 of the zoning ordinance, which is the dimensional regulations table. So the lot is dimensionally fully conforming. We are not asking for any variances, dimensional or otherwise, just a special use permit as required by the use table. The project itself is a proposed 2-family. It's a side-by-side 2-family. Each unit has a 1-car garage, 3 bedrooms, 2.5 bathrooms, roughly 1,600 square feet per side. The target market, which we find or we're seeing a big need for right now, are folks downsizing, looking to bring in extended family or their adult children and grandchildren, or vice versa. Folks looking to buy a house, bring their families in. We're seeing a pretty big need for that in the market. We think this is gonna fill that gap pretty well right now. There is adequate off-street parking with the 1-car garage, as well as in the driveway as required under the code. In regard to the specific requirements and conditions required by the special use permit, I'd like to now bring in Doug McLean, our land use and planning expert, to testify. He has appeared before this board as an expert as well as other boards. He's been a municipal and private planner for well over a decade now. And he's available here to testify as to his resume as to the as to the requirements of this application. I'd ask Mr. Chairman that he be accepted as an expert for the purposes of tonight's testimony.
Mr. Chairman, I am familiar with Mr. McLean, and I would recommend that the board move to approve him as an expert.
Okay. Make a motion to approve the gentleman as an expert. Have a second?
A second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Aye.
Okay, Mr. Johnston, fire away with your,
Mr.
Mr. McLean, let me try a minute.
Sure. Thank you
Could you
very
ra-
much.
Well, I
Could
mean,
you
you
raise-
give
Mr.
warning.
McLean, could you
Yep.
raise your right hand? Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do. With your permission, through the chair, may I share my screen?
Absolutely.
Great. All right. And is everyone seeing my screen right now?
We are.
Yes.
Great. I'll just
Yeah,
find my
Okay.
file I need here. I've just got a brief report. It's 2 pages, and it is not my intent to actually go through all of the content here. I'd like to give a brief summary, and then I wanted it to be available if questions exist. I've organized the report just briefly in terms of the specific findings that are required for a special use permit, and I'll just get right into it. The first finding is to be compatible with the neighboring land uses. I did conduct a neighborhood analysis using the town's GIS portal and the tax records that are associated with that. I looked at every parcel within 200 feet of the subject lot, and this is the findings, particularly that there are 20 total lots within 200 feet. Out of those, 11 of those lots have single-family dwellings, 7 have 2-family dwellings, and 2 lots have multifamily, so 3 or more units on those lots. So the percentage of lots that have 2 families within 200 feet is roughly 35%. And when I did look at those specific lots, just the ones that have 2 families, I was interested in what is the average lot size that we see in this neighborhood. And the average lot size is 10,700 and change. And I would just note that the lot that is being proposed for development here is larger than that. And that's just by way of showing that, we certainly have enough space and land area, not just to meet the zoning code, but we have in excess of what the typical 2-family has in this particular neighborhood. I'll just quickly, kind of summarize some of the other points. The project is located in an R8 zone with the expressed intent of, allowing for single and multi-family residential dwellings. 2 families are allowed through a special use permit process. The proposed dwelling will meet all the minimum setbacks and have adequate separation distances from surrounding dwellings and public rights of way. Finding that this will not hinder the future development of the town, the property has adequate access to a public right of way. The lot is vacant and it is not being utilized by any other surrounding parcel for their own parking requirements or to meet their own dimensional needs. And the property contains no wetlands or other significant environmental features. One of the findings is conform to all applicable sections of this ordinance. In terms of the zoning requirements, this proposed lot does exceed the minimum standards required for a 2-family dwelling in the R8 district. The little table there just shows what is required and what we're proposing. In all cases, we are in excess of the requirements in this zone. And this last finding is with regards to the purposes and intent of the West Warwick Comprehensive Plan. I don't intend to, read all of these, but there were a number of policies, goals, and action statements that I found that I believe are relevant and provide positive evidence that the comprehensive plan shows is supports of this type of application, and that this particular application is consistent. Generally, the plan is seeking to do infill housing and to create housing options and housing choices with a range of price points, a range of meeting different needs. The plan is very supportive of those types of developments in those targeted areas where they want it, and this is one of those targeted areas. And last, I would note I looked at the town's future land use map. The designation for this parcel and for the neighborhood around it is a high density residential, which is seeking 5 units per acre or more. And the parcel, the project is seeking a development that will be roughly over 7 units per acre. So actually this is conforming with that designation where you're seeking greater density, you're seeking that infill. This does fulfill that and is consistent with that future land use map. So that concludes my analysis and my findings. And if there's any desire to revisit the details of any portion of this, I'm very happy to do that.
Mr. Chairman, if I may just clarify a couple points briefly for the record with Mr. McLean. Mr. McLean, and based on the evidence you just presented in your analysis, in your expert opinion, is this special use permit proposal compatible with the neighboring land uses?
Yes, it is.
And again, in your expert opinion, would the proposal create a nuisance in the neighborhood?
No, it would not create a nuisance.
And again, in your expert opinion, and based on the research, would the proposal hinder future development in the town?
No, it would not hinder development.
And again, in your expert opinion, would the proposal conform to all applicable sections of the Town of West Warwick zoning ordinance?
Yes, it would.
And then lastly, in your expert opinion, would it be in conformance with the purpose and the intent of the town's comprehensive plan as well as the zoning ordinance?
Yes, it would.
Thank you, Mr. McLean, and thank you, members of the board, for allowing me to get that out on the record. I believe that's all for us. We can answer any questions the board may have or members of the public.
Anybody have any questions? I'll let you guys have first crack, then I'll go after you guys.
Mike, I just had one question. Is there any plans for a fence or some sort of, is there going to be any physical separation in the backyard, I guess?
So there's,
yeah, go ahead.
There are plans for a fence in that back lot line because the back lot line was recently subdivided by the prior owners. Right now, there's permanent boundaries back there, but it's difficult if you stand on the street and look down to tell where that is. So we do have plans on a stockade fence there. The 2 sidelines are well delineated. The southern sideline has a chain link fence down it already. The northern sideline has a concrete wall, and then there's it's well delineated. It's been a month or so since I've been physically on site, and it's quite obvious what that is. So I have no concrete plans for that north side or south side, but certainly back lot line, we do have plans of putting a stockade, like a cedar flat top or some other type of stockade fence in that back lot line.
And so what I'm asking, is that going to be a physical separation between the 2 units? Like down the, draw a line down the middle and specifically in the backyard? Or will that be just a common area for the use of both?
That's a common area. So what we foresee is just the fence in that backyard to block that off. I don't know, whoever buys this is going to use it how they want to use it, whether they want to split it and have 110 on the other side, 110 on the other. I think just based on what I know about the market, I have a feeling this is going to be attractive in this neighborhood to folks who are pulling an extended family. So I wouldn't start separating out the yards and things like that.
Okay. That was my only question, Peter. Or, Peter, Michael.
Yeah, thanks. Anybody else?
Michael, I have one question for the gentleman.
Fire away.
The unit very much looks like a condominium. I'm not sure, and I'd like our solicitor to answer. In our granting this application, would we be limiting the use being an apartment? Or is it possible for that to be sold in the future as two separate condominiums?
There is no distinction. You're granting a two-family dwelling unit. Whether it's a condominium or whether it's an apartment has no significance.
That's exactly what I thought, so now I'll ask the applicant. Do you have future plans to make it a condominium?
No, we don't at this time. The listing agent who brought me this, and honestly, we went through this plan together. He's got some clients who are more or less the target market for this, it's an older couple looking to bring their children and two grandchildren. I don't think they'll be the buyers for this. I think they'll probably have a house by then. But that is the target audience that we're going after.
Well, it's a nice layout. You got a garage. You only have 12 steps going up. You should rent this or sell this very, very quickly.
Thank you. Hope so. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Mike, you do have one member of the public that would like to comment on this one.
I'm not done yet. I'm not done with my questioning. I want to get.
No problem. I just wanted to let you know.
Sorry, Joe. I just
didn't want it to
sorry,
go by.
Brian, sorry about that, Lynn. We had a little crickets there for a second, but I just want to make sure my board members had their chance to say their piece before I get to mine, since I've been kind of saying first in the last couple petitions. So figured I'd give
No
them.
problem at all.
Okay. Mr. Johnston. So, right. Okay, you're up there. Okay. So you're actually you're not looking to be a property manager. You're looking to sell this thing.
Yes, we develop property. Yes.
Okay, but you're not looking to be the property manager of this property. You're looking to put it on the market, sell it. Somebody buys it. You guys are done with it.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, the plan is, yes, exactly, to build and sell, given where construction costs are going. You may end up owning it for a while, but the plan right now is to build.
No, in this market, I doubt it.
Right, exactly. So if the prices stay where they are, it'll probably be a build and a sell, yes.
Okay, it probably makes me a little nervous, but that's another situation. Not done yet. I'm formulating a question, so hold on. On that street, most of the majority of the houses on that street are single families. The majority on that street. I'm not going by a 200-foot radius. I'm going by down that street. Most of the majority of the houses are single family, just to let you know that. Okay. Although you may have, do you have people I'm putting people in air quotes who are looking to purchase this property?
At this time, no specific people. The realtor on this who turned me onto this land is Bill Fuchs, William Fuchs. He had some clients who are interested in more or less this plan. We kind of designed it around that. Whether or not they're still looking for a house in 6 or 9 months when this is ready to go, I don't know. But that's kind of that's our target audience. The house next door to us, I believe, is a 3 or a 4 unit. I don't know, much beyond that. But no, I don't have, we're not under contract right now for any specific buyer or anything like that. We're pretty early on in the phase here.
Okay, because it is a nice piece of property, and you wouldn't need a special use permit if you were building a single family house. You just do it, build it, sell it. But you do need a special use for the multifamily dwelling because it's to the multifamily. Just throwing that out there.
Yes, that's correct. Yes.
I think my line of questioning is done for the moment. Okay, Joe, see if anybody out there in Zoom land has any questions.
We've got one. I'm gonna let them in now.
Mhm.
It says Moshan Marshall. They can turn on their mic and their camera and address the board.
Hello. All right,
Yes.
so
Could
Right.
you give me your name, please?
Louise Mouchon,
Could you spell your last name?
Mouchon.
Would you raise your right hand, swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I will.
Thank you.
I do.
Okay.
Go ahead, say what you want to say now.
What I want to say is, years ago, I tried to purchase that land. Now I do own not seven, I'm getting a
2 and
little-
4.
2 and 4 Hebert.
9
which-
Hebert.
And,
All the land across the street from this plot. She tried to purchase it.
Wait. Two
twice.
people
I can't
speaking
hear
here.
her.
Hold
Hold
on.
on.
You got two people speaking here.
She's 97. I'm
Uh,
trying to help her.
please, I will answer any question you ask me. I am 97. I own number 24. I own the land between 24 and number 12. I own
9 and 11.
9 and 11. And I own a lot on Girton Street. Is that Girton Street? Yes, Girton Street. So I do have a reason about what happens to that land that I wanted to purchase. The reason I wanted to buy that lot years ago in 1970, because my only offspring, a daughter, was going to be married and I wanted her to live near us. It was denied. Now, years go by and all of a sudden, Miss Crapo, who owned the 2 houses, passed away. When she passed away, the 2 houses were sold together. So I got the bright idea, and so did my husband, who, by the way, owned B&B Cabinet, who knew a little bit about land and what you could build and what you couldn't. And we were denied to put a small house there, even though there was one there because the land had been split. That is why it is not the right size lot. Then down the years, we tried again after we purchased the other 2 houses. We figured, well, those are both 2-family houses. Maybe they'll tell us, okay, we can use that land and put a 2-family house there.
Well, 1 family.
And again, we couldn't, because what was the reason?
The town said no.
Yeah. Because there were, and when we bought the other house, we had to hook the sewer through Girton Street. Now, I do own land on Girton Street also. Now, I don't know if you look at the town records, but we did buy the land to build a home for my only offspring, my daughter, number 12 Hebert. So this is why we are interested now. Why all of a sudden is everybody can build on it when I couldn't? That's plain. I'm just asking you, sir. Why couldn't I going back to 1970s until the early 80s. I couldn't. But now it's a different officer. And my daughter will speak for me because I am 97. I've been around a long time. I think I'm a pretty good taxpayer in town.
Now, does somebody want to swear me in?
Yes, could
So
you
I
give me could you give me a name, please?
Yes, Diane Marshall,
Could you spell your last name?
MARCHESSAULT.
A-U, well, I didn't get the last two.
LT.
LT. Raise your right hand. Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
Thank you.
Okay, I own 12 and 20 Hebert Street. And when that man spoke, he said off-street parking. On-street parking, I'm sorry. No on-street parking. We have 2 handicapped children on this street. They're special needs. We don't need problems with more people. And like my mother said, we wanted to build on it, and you people at the town said no. So how come somebody else can build on it now?
I'm gonna leave that question to Mr. DiFiore. In 1970, West Warwick could have been in Mars, where I was from.
Well,
Mr. DiFiore knows better than me.
Mr. Chairman, if I could, Mr. DiFiore, I could address some of the concerns if you like at your discretion.
Just a comment that it's impossible to answer your question, Mrs. Marshall, because the zoning laws back in 1970 and the zoning laws today are apples and oranges. They're totally different. I have no idea why you were denied in 1970. I just can't answer that question, why you were denied. What they are seeking is in accordance with the law, zoning law as it exists today, which is totally different from what it was in 1970. That's the only comment I can make to try and answer your question.
Okay, but since we own everything around it, when we don't want it.
Well,
I don't want kids going in that lot across the street and playing in my lot.
but
There's no room in the back for kids to play. They'll be in our yard.
The problem is that the zoning code, the law for this says that if they meet certain standards, which the gentlemen have spoken to, they have the right by the zoning code to put a 2-family house on that lot. It's a matter of what the zoning code, the law says, not what people want. It's what the law says. That's the only answer I can
So
give.
we can't refuse this. We can't say anything. You want 200 feet around, but then we try to say we don't want it, and doesn't matter.
Yeah, the zoning board, I'm sure, will take into consideration everything you have both said tonight, and then they will reach a decision. They have to reach a decision. Do they? I'll try to make it blunt and simple. Do they side with you or do they side with the other side? And that's a decision that's up to the zoning board. It's not who wants what.
Plus, the water company said they can't hook into the water pipes.
Well, that's their problem, not the zoning boards.
Well,
The
that
zoning
was
board
my
has to follow
problem.
the law.
May I ask a question?
Yep, go right ahead.
Have the rules changed that much?
It's 50 years.
Yes.
It's 50 years difference.
Yes, it changed in 50
Yeah,
years.
it's changed a lot in 50 years,
Changed in
guaranteed.
50 years. It did.
Yeah,
Oh, yes.
absolutely. Even I can answer that question, and I'm not an attorney.
I
Well,
started this,
that's not right. It's not right. When one person denied and the other one's given permission.
Well,
Can I ask a question just to clarify something?
Could we see what this is supposed to look like? We have no idea what this is supposed to look like.
I'm just trying to figure out, did you actually used to own this parcel?
No, we wanted
they
to
were-
buy
they were
it,
denied.
denied.
I,
put a house on
excuse me, sir. I own number 2 and 4.
She said
No, I
that.
understand, but,
We wanted to extend the holdings.
right, you wanted to buy this lot, but
That piece.
why
But
weren't you
we-
able to buy this lot?
Because we could not build on it.
We were told we couldn't build on it.
You gotta remember, this street is full of ledge. Remember that.
Let's
Okay.
not please make different
So-
rules for different people. Please
Not making
do
different-
that. Do not
Not
do
making
that.
different rules for different peoples, but the laws change over a course of 50 years.
But I've been around a long time, sir.
I understand that.
Do
But
you-
laws
do
do,
you-
laws
Do you
do change.
recall, do you recall why you were told you can't build on that lot?
Wasn't a buildable lot. That's exactly what we were told, because when I got married, I wanted to build a house there.
I wanted to
And I
have
ended
her
up
there.
building across the street.
That's how we got the land. We bought the Crapo property.
We bought the whole estate.
In fact, when 9 and 11, oh, yeah, 9. When 9 and 11 came up for sale, I wanted to buy that, but I was told I had to buy number 2 and 4 also if I wanted it. And I did buy it. And I thought it was well kept. They're 2 family houses.
So they wouldn't let us build, but they want to let somebody else build. And they want to put 2 families besides.
Yeah.
And we wanted just a single family.
And I'll tell you, guess who was the first notice that got the news that that land was going up for sale? I was contacted by the heirs from the Nadeau estate, the daughter Patty and her husband, because they knew that I wanted that piece of land for years. So they did contact me last fall and asked me, was I still interested? I said, well, I lost my husband. I am 97, so I cannot. But I did ask what the price was. I was curious, which was a good price.
Can you stop now?
And that was it.
Okay.
And that is the only reason why I did not put a bid in it. I didn't know it went up for sale until last fall. It became, when the Nadeaus bought it, it became, believe it or not, a garden, a beautiful garden. Because nobody could get permit to build anything on it. That's how far back it goes.
Okay. And
I've said my piece.
all right.
Stop.
Thank you.
And just again, to check my understanding, as far as your current objections date back to how the zoning was in 1970, that you were unable to, you decided not to buy the lot back then because you were under the impression that you couldn't build on that lot.
Stop it. They were drawbacks then. I understood that.
Okay. And then what are your current objections?
We couldn't put a single family on there. And now they want to put 2 family. There's no room. I don't know where this man's getting all these.
I thought the law was
the messages. The measurements, because we own the land on the side.
That land was split.
And there's just a wall, not even I can't even tell you, maybe a 10-foot wall. That's it. And then it's all trees. And
Mr. Chairman,
they're
may
gonna
I say
be in my
something?
yard. They're gonna be in my yard.
Hold on, ma'am. Go ahead, Pete.
Where
Ma'am,
will these people park? Where
I'm
will
not-
these people park, sir?
Yeah.
Where would
I'll-
they
They're not
park?
gonna park on the street. No,
Isn't the law
especially in the
still?
winter. What do you do in the
If-
winter? Where they gonna
Okay,
park?
okay,
No
okay.
one-
All right. Had your piece for right
No.
now. Mr. Kelsey has the floor for right now. You can hold up for a second. Mr. Kelsey, you have the floor. Okay?
All right.
The
If I
chair
may,
recognizes Mr. Kelsey.
if I may, just trying to finalize this up for you. Back when you tried to buy the property from their present owners, whenever it was in the 70s or the 80s, you were dealing with the property owners. You weren't dealing with the town of West Warwick. You
The
needed to
town would
negotiate.
not let us.
Oh, wait, hold on, ma'am. You were negotiating with the owners that owned that property at the time. The town may have told you that you cannot put a duplex on this property. And if you had a lawyer with you, they would have explained to you, you cannot do that under the normal law.
We didn't want a duplex, sir. We wanted a single family house.
Okay, what I'm suggesting is that whoever you talked to gave you the wrong information. I don't know if you had a lawyer with you. It would have been the right thing for you to do that because it sounds like you got incorrect information all of that time. There is a solution now. When I was on the town council, I used to tell people this all the time. There is a solution. If you don't want something going up on the side of you, it's still time to make an offer to the people who own it, that have the application here in front of you today, in front of the zoning board. They have an expectation to make X amount of dollars of profit on that property. I'm sure that they would sit down and give you a number to sell to you if you met their profit expectation. I don't know that's a fact, but I know that that is a present day consideration, and that's probably the only recourse or the only solution that you and your family could have to try and be satisfied.
Well, we
That's
don't
all I-
want it now.
Well,
That
okay.
answers that
put it-
question then.
Let's put it
Thank you,
this way,
Peter.
sir. Let's put it this way. We tried to get that land for a long time. From 1970 for just a one family for my daughter,
Yeah.
and we could not. Then, a few years down the line, when Miss Crapo passed away,
this already. Stop.
we got the other two houses. Then we wanted to try to
Ma,
put
you told them already.
a two-family.
You told them
Yeah.
already. Stop. We're
Okay.
sorry, sir.
Okay,
Can't-
that's fine.
can't-
You're
Mr.
97, you know?
Okay. okay.
97 years old.
I
And a
understand
pretty
she's
good-
97. I can
And a
appreciate
God
pretty
bless
good,
you.
and a pretty good taxpayer in West Warwick if
Yeah,
you
what do you
I
check.
understand.
God bless you.
How are you gonna protect, how are they gonna protect
Yeah,
the boundary between my land and this?
Well, they have to have a buffer. They
Where
have
would
to have a
they put-
setback.
where are they gonna
again?
put?
You have to have a buffer setback.
And
They
matter
have
of
to have a buffer. They have to have it,
Yes.
right? Not me.
You have to have
the
a
matter
setback,
fact
yes.
was they split.
Mike, I think you're gonna call it to
Huh?
I think you're gonna call it. Everything's being repetitive.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah,
I think,
just call it. She's not gonna,
Thank you for your time. Very much appreciated. Thank you for the history lesson of the whole street. They probably should change the name of the street to your name instead of Hebert Street. They should change the name of the street to your name. You own more houses on it than anybody else. But at this time, thank you for your commentaries and how
Mike,
you
unless Johnson has David has something further, motion to close the public hearing.
Mike, you have two more public hands on the public side.
Okay, have them fire away.
All right. LaFaves are now joining the meeting.
Okay.
Mr. or Mrs. LaFave, you can unmute your microphone and turn your camera on to address the board.
we go.
Could you state your
us?
name? Could you state your names, please?
Alan LaFave, 34 Woodside Avenue.
And
Patricia LaFave,
could you spell LaFave, please? Make sure I get it right.
LeFevre.
I had it right.
That's good Italian name.
And your first name again?
Patricia and Alan.
Patricia. Thank you. Would you raise your right hands?
We're the right.
The other right.
I like that, Mike, huh?
I love it.
You swear to tell the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes.
Yes. We do.
You guys have the floor. Fire away.
Okay. I want to clarify a few things on what Louise and Diane had to say.
Okay.
We were the previous owners of the property. We just sold the property to Mr. Johnson back in March.
Okay.
Now, the property has been up for sale for a year.
Okay.
And Louise is correct. We did offer the property to her first.
Okay.
We went ahead, but the property used to be almost 18,000 square feet. We did a subdivision on it for the sole purpose that something like this wasn't going to be built. Well, we were more afraid of something larger, and that we didn't want that to be our
legacy.
Our legacy, correct? Because we also own the property on 10 Girton Street,
okay, which
abuts the both of it and the end of Leo Street.
Yeah, it does, but yep.
So we sold that property also, and we added 4,000 square feet from
The Hebert
the
Street.
Heber Street to the Girton Street.
Okay.
And that is well documented and well marked off now. And I'm sure Mr. Johnson can tell you that too.
Okay.
And I got the survey stakes that are still in place there.
Okay. I believe you, Al.
Yeah. My father-in-law bought that property in 1975. It was a briar patch, to say the least. And he cleared it. And like you said, he built a beautiful garden there. But we were glad to sell it. We offered them the property. And I was hoping to see Mr. Johnson build a single family home there. But the way he describes it, it sounds like it's going to be a decent piece of property after he gets done. And I would hope that he keeps the rest of the neighbors in mind when he is building this.
Okay. So you actually owned the property and you
Yes.
offered it to the family that just was speaking.
Yeah, so we offered it to Louise as the first one because we knew that she wanted to buy it back in 1970.
Okay.
Which better than that?
And so we
can't get
offered
any
it to her first.
Okay. So Al, you kind of gave her the right of first refusal, kind of, sort of.
And she did refuse.
Okay. That's that answer.
But I mean,
and the story.
They're great
Pretty
people.
much. I mean, that's like
They're
Paul
great
Harvey. That's the
people.
rest of the story.
Yeah, and we just want to hope that Dave does the right thing by everybody in the neighborhood.
Well, we appreciate you coming on and clarifying the situation. We really do.
And we did have a
Mr.
beautiful
Fair,
garden
to the-
here.
Thanks a lot, Al. We appreciate it, really. You guys all set? You all set, Al?
Yeah,
Okay, thank you.
you're welcome.
Thanks, Al. Good to see you.
Same here.
One more, Mike.
Okay. We're
Kimberly Johnson is the name that's on there.
okay.
You can turn their camera on and unmute their microphone.
Okay, is my camera on? I'm sorry, it's breaking up. I'm having great difficulty hearing everyone. It seems to continue to break up, but is my camera on? I think my volume is on.
Yes.
Oh, we got your picture.
Yes, we
in?
can hear and see you, Ms. Johnson.
Okay, very
Could
good.
you state your name and address, please?
Yes, my name is Kimberly Johnson. I live at 7 Gurchin Street.
And raise your right hand. Please raise your right hand. Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
Thank you.
Thank you. And again, I'm sorry, but my computer seems to be cutting in and out. So I am having a little bit of difficulty hearing everyone on the panel. And I'm very sorry, I'm also very late to the meeting, so I've probably missed a great deal of discussion. But I do have concerns about the proposed duplex to be built on the property. I have been living at this residence since 1990. My husband and I, it's a dead-end street, Girton, which abuts 10 Girton Street, which abuts the property that the LaFaves recently sold. So my concerns are, and you may have discussed them already, and I do apologize. My concerns would be the sewer tie-in to Hebert Street, as well as the water tie-in to Hebert Street. And I know that this area is full of ledge, so it may be very difficult to build a well if that's needed. I believe the lot is a very small size lot. My Girton Street runs into Agnes Street, which is an absolute nightmare of duplexes, multifamilies that somehow over the years were allowed to be built in this single family neighborhood. It is a single family neighborhood. Some of the larger homes over the years have been turned into two families. It is a very relatively quiet neighborhood. I think the addition of a duplex with questionable parking is certainly a concern for the neighbors on a busy road. Hebert can be a busy road. So I object certainly to a two-family being built. I'm more comfortable with a single-family home being built. I don't know what the laws are regarding zoning to put a home structure on. I know this is a meeting about a special use permit. I'm not clear why it's called a special use permit. That means to me that something isn't right within the zoning and they're asking for a variance. Very concerned about that. So I do object to a two-family, and I don't even know if it meets the one-family code. So I just wanted to share my concerns over proposed construction.
Thank you. They
I
do
don't know
meet
if
all the
anyone-
setbacks though for a two-family, for a duplex. I know you kind of came in late. You came in late to this. Hopefully you
Yes.
can hear me. I'm not sure if you can, but the applicant has met all of the standard setbacks for the parcel of land and house that they're trying to meet. So they meet all the zoning setbacks. Okay. That's not an issue.
Has the zoning board recently, driven in the area to check out how this neighborhood from Hebert corner down through Agnes? And if you look at, my concern with West Warwick is that every little tiny piece of land seems to get a house popped on it. And it's unfortunate that West Warwick is so overbuilt. But my concern would be that in fact, so why is this called a special use permit meeting?
Mike, you want me to?
Yeah, go ahead, Al. You can give the legalese.
The way the zoning code sets up is it says that this lot would be permissible for a one-family house. However, if they meet certain standards that are very, very specific standards, then it is permissible to have a two-family house. The terms special use permit is just a term that was given by our state legislature to describe that action that says that you can have it if you meet certain standards. That's what the zoning board has to do tonight. The zoning board has to sit. They have 5 or 6 standards that the applicant must satisfy the zoning board. They meet all of those standards. If the applicant satisfies the zoning board that they meet all of those standards, then the zoning code says you have the right to put two families.
My question to the zoning board is, have you all personally been out to the property to take a look at the neighborhood and take a look at what has been proposed to you as far as building a duplex on a very small lot in this neighborhood?
I know, speaking for myself, I have not personally reviewed that.
Mike, could I answer that?
1 minute, because yes, I drove up and down the street today, multiple times. So you have mostly single
took a good
families, but
look
you
at
do it. Yeah, I drove up and down the street a couple of times. You got multiple single family homes. Down the street on the left, you got like a fourplex or a fiveplex, the brown complex that's about 400 feet up on the left from where the parcel that we're speaking about now. Because I even asked the person if there was a
Agnes
person
Street.
outside.
Yeah.
What's that? No, it's on Hebert. It's on Hebert. It's not on
Agnes
Agnes. It's on
Street,
Hebert.
that's-
It's on Hebert Street. It's about four buildings down on the left-hand side. I would say it's a 4 or 5
Is it a
plex.
brick building, sir?
It's
it a brick?
brownish. It's a brownish building inset.
You
It's
weren't
an
talking about
inset building.
Coventry because Hebert crosses into Coventry.
Hebert crosses into Coventry. Okay, well, that's, to me, Hebert Street goes down the street. Yes, it's a dead end. But I mean, so as I'm driving down the street, I saw some single family homes, mostly single family homes, but I did see that apartment complex. I did see it. And I even had to ask the gentleman, is this a single family home or is it an apartment complex? And the gentleman said it's apartment complex. Oh, thank you. So yes, I did drive up and down the street more than once.
Thank you.
And when you're at Hebert Street and you take a left to go down the street, there's two multifamily homes. When you're on Hebert Street coming down the street and taking a left, I think it's onto Agnes or Leo, I think. There's a couple of multifamily homes, which I was kind of surprised about because I thought everything else would be single family homes, but there are a couple of multis there. So yes, the answer to your question is yes.
Thank you, Mr. McPhillips.
I can't speak for anybody else, but I have driven up and down that street as well. And kind of took a look at the different properties in the area. And like Mike said, I'd have to agree with kind of his analysis of what's on that street and the types of houses as well.
And my concern, if I may, is that for a single family neighborhood, all of a sudden, when special variances are allowed and previous past zoning boards have allowed multifamilies to come in, it certainly adds to the hodgepodge of the neighborhood. And if you look, there really aren't any vacant lots around at all. There's nothing. So again, to the overbuilding of West Warwick is, I think all of the neighbors, our concerns is again, the overbuilding of West Warwick. And it sometimes causes blight to neighborhoods.
That was 98% built. The town is like 98 to 99% built. You have to start knocking down houses to build houses around here. 99% built. It's only an 8-mile town.
Green space is welcome.
I mean, it's an 8-mile town and it's like a peninsula. It's not a square or a rectangle. It's like a peninsula. And it's 99% built. And that's just, those are the facts of the town. Any other comments by the board members?
I'd just like to say briefly, when you have a new area that's built out as a new community, as a new plat, I happen to live in Ward 5, the southern part of West Warwick, where you have almost all the area has been developed in the last 25, 30 years as a new plat. The only thing that's in there is residential, single family. Many other parts of the town, quite a bit of the town has buildings, single multifamily, 4 or 5 units all over long before we had zoning, long before there was anything documented restricting what could or could not be done. In this particular case, the family that held onto the land held it for a long period of time. No one came forward with a negotiation to buy it, but whoever owns the land does have the absolute right to sell it. And it's usually for the largest amount of profit by the seller. In this particular case, once again, if you have a person that wants to have a single family home on this piece of land, maybe they can negotiate it. But there's nothing stopping the seller, the present seller, from developing the piece of land within the proper laws of the town of West Warwick. anything that has an R designation in front of it, R6, R75, R8, R10, that starts out with the residential designation. If you want to change that, you need to come to the determining board, which is the zoning board. That's where you are right now. But the fact of the matter is, it's up to the people that are owning the property right now. But just as an aside, this is a gorgeous presentation that this property owner is proposing to the zoning board. You might have said something about water and sewer and whatnot. The town of West Warwick does not guarantee a business to be successful, and the planning and zoning boards do not guarantee a prospective property owner to be successful. It's pretty much buy, owner, beware. When you buy, buyer, owner, beware. And in this particular case, I'm not sure which gentleman said it, if Mr. One of the owners said the property was for sale for over a year. Well, I know property in West Warwick that was available for 2 or 3 years and no one wanted it. And the bank crisis resolved itself over a couple of years. And all of a sudden, almost every empty piece of land in the town of West Warwick started to be built on. Mike McReynolds is absolutely correct. There is very little build out left in the town of West Warwick. You mentioned greenway, green space. The town owns a particular piece of green. But again, there's nothing that's preventing you from negotiating, as is the owner has negotiated, the president with the former buyer. We're just doing the normal work of the town. We're abiding by the rules and regulations as the board that takes requests for variances. The variance is putting a multifamily in a single family development. And it's done across the board many different times, more so in older parts of the town. Thank you.
And if I may comment, it's also very sad when we see streets like Agnes Street that have been, I don't know who passed the zoning on that, but when you start to see streets that it just seems they're overbuilt. I don't know who passed the zoning on those, and you're in a neighborhood, then all of a sudden, a single family goes to multifamilies, to apartment complexes that should be in single family neighborhoods. And I wonder also if a perk test has been done to find out the viability of building, because across the street happens to be a very wetland. I can see the water all the time running through there. So I just wonder about a perk test.
Mr. Johnston, can you answer that? Mr. Johnston, can you answer that question, or is that a question you can't answer?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I can, if it's okay. We did do a perk test. There was no groundwater down to 12 feet. There was, in certain spots, in other spots, we hit ledge at 7 and 8 feet.
Are you putting in a town sewer tie-in line?
Table, yes, excuse me. We are tying into the town line. We were doing that to search for the water table as well as for ledge. We put 4 holes.
Okay, but
yeah.
If the put this right, you're going to be going. You would be going. There would be a sewer tie-in. It'd be a sewer tie-in for the piece of property.
That's correct. The sewer department has given us the lateral of the location of a proposed lateral.
Okay.
Already, I've discussed it with them a number of times since about January in conversation with the sewer department.
Okay, you're breaking up a little bit.
Yeah, I apologize. I see that.
That's okay. Okay, so there's going to be no septic. It's going to have a sewer tie-in.
Yes, sewer tie-in.
Okay. Thank you. Any other questions from the board? Okay.
I'm all set, Mike.
What's that?
I said I'm all set.
Okay. Joe, are there any other remonstrants, any other commentaries out there in Zoom land?
You are good, sir.
Motion to close public hearing?
I'll second.
Yeah,
Not yet? Nope. Somebody
to
say
Joe.
something?
Haven't gotten to Joe to see if we can, if there's anybody else out there in Zoom.
No, you're
land.
all set, Mike. You're good.
You're all set. Motion to close public hearing?
Second.
Okay, make a motion to close the public hearing.
I just did.
Okay, I'll second it. Okay. Okay. Petition 2021.
Vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any nays?
Come on, guys, wake up.
Yeah, I know it's
What are we voting on?
hit the witching hour. Okay, all right, I'll go through this one, Alan, okay?
Sure.
Petition 2021-11, applicant owner Bushneck Cove Investments LLC, 7 Hebert Street, Plat 5, Lot 616, Zone 88. Special use permit. The proposed use is compatible with, the reason I'm saying this, my narrative is the neighborhood has both single families and it has multifamilies. So the proposal that's put before us is a good proposal. I will be voting for it. And the proposed use is compatible with the neighboring land use, will not create a nuisance in the neighborhood, will not hinder future development of the town, will conform to all applicable sections of the zoning ordinance, is in conformance with the purpose and intent of the comprehensive plan. Any other commentaries?
Yeah.
Fire away.
I too plan to vote in favor of this proposal. I do find it is compatible with neighboring land uses based on testimony provided by the experts. Based on the design, it's brand new, can create a nuisance in the neighborhood. I think it will contribute to the future development of the town as far as taking a vacant lot and putting it into a productive use for the town, as far as you know.
Maybe even including myself are having internet issues, so.
Okay.
I keep seeing different things pop up saying some people have poor internet connections right now.
Yeah.
Mike, I suggest you get to the vote.
I don't think you can hear us.
Mike McPhillip is not even on right now.
I didn't hear that. I don't know what's going on.
Mike is currently not in the meeting, so